Oh, look at that. Love it.
Oh,
Love
good
the countdown.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah. First of all, thanks to everyone who plans on joining today. We'll give it a minute or so, see if anyone drops in. Um, but if anyone's not, usually it's Alex Gooch who joins me on these, but today it's George's turn. So, George, do you want to introduce yourself and explain a little bit about what you do at the legendary award-winning
The
EA Masters
award-winning inventory
Inventory
hive.
Hive? Yeah, go for
Yes.
it, mate.
So I work predominantly on the sales and kind of onboarding, I suppose. So when we're talking to agents and inventory clerks, it's myself or perhaps Rich or one of the team that I work in here who will kind of go through the training sessions with you. We'll get the understanding, obviously, of your business, your agency, your outsource services, what you provide, and how we can kind of work along with that as well. So and it's not just a case of what buttons you push. We go through, we try and get the best understanding as to each of our agents, each of the outsourced clerks, what it is they want to offer, how we facilitate that, and if there's process changes, we could kind of advise on that as well, and kind
Yeah,
of point in the direction of things like best practice as well.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's obviously the topic of this webinar today or live stream is why PropTech integrations are your friend. Um, the idea I had about this came about because I read an article by Simon Whale at Kerfuffle about it was titled "Agents, We've Always Done It Like This." So I think it's so obviously with us at ImageHive, although we're trying to um, like show off the software, but it is designed to help and make things a lot more streamlined for people. And hopefully, the integrations are help are there to help people, not put people off. It might be a bit scary to start with of getting it initially set up, but I suppose putting that legwork in at to start with and getting it set up will help massively in the long term.
Absolutely, and there's lots of flexibility around this as well. I mean, when I have these initial calls with agents,
Mm,
some of the conversations can be we've started off with paper-based systems we're looking at, or it can be a completely different conversation if we're looking at going from a perhaps paper-based documentation system to a
yeah,
complete digital solution where everything talks to each other. So depending on your property management system, you may want to have us talk to a PMS, us talk to perhaps a maintenance solution, to have everything under one roof. Stop all the double entry, stop all that type of things. But again, it depends what you're using. But I think
yeah,
from our point of view, it's about conversation, really, isn't it? And
yeah,
about
exactly.
easing the workload.
Yeah, we obviously on the integration side of things, it's like it's not just PropTech. Like on our day-to-day workload, George, we've got loads of integrations ourselves, like Calendar and Microsoft Teams, and
Mm.
that integrates with like HubSpot and it integrates with whatever. So there's always something plugged in, and it's all designed to help with that human error and double entry and things like that, really. So you obviously, George, you said you help with the customer success side of things, and um, typically you would help manage the inbound sales calls. So if an agent rings up George and says, "Look, who do you integrate with?" and what would your typical answer be, or where would you start, basically?
I think we get an understanding as to these kind of solutions that you're using at the moment as well. So find out who you are using. One of the things that we do is we do have an open API, but in terms of
Mm,
off-the-shelf solutions, there's a lot of packages there. We have a lot of conversations along the lines of inventories hand in hand go with things like maintenance, which obviously draws a very quick and easy line to something like Fixflow.
yeah,
And in terms of digital marketplaces and digital solutions for a property management solution, we could talk about things like Repeat as well, which
yeah,
obviously we've
exactly.
got a pre-existing relationship where there
Yeah,
as well.
it's like whenever I've spoke to customers, a lot of people do say it's almost like it's sometimes their first question now. It's who
Mm,
do you integrate with? It's not how easy is it to use Image Hive. It's who do you integrate with and why? And then it's like, do you integrate with Fixflow? Yes, and then we explain why. And then do you integrate with this? Do you explain with integrate with PropCo for etc. etc. Um, one of our largest customers is integrates with PropCo, and that's all come about because they wanted to avoid that double entry and mass importing properties and tenant data, etc. So um, in a nutshell, George, what do you know about the PropCo integration as such?
You kind of touched on it really. It's a way to stop double entry. It's, from an inventory hive perspective, what we don't want to do is we don't want our customers adding the same property on twice and having half their tenancies, half the reports on one property, and then having to filter through the system to then find a duplication of that property with the other
Yeah,
half of their reports and their tenancies on. So by using an integration like PropCo, if you're using that for your property management software, it's going to bring over your properties. I believe it's going to bring over your tenancies as well, Mitch, if I'm honest.
yeah,
Um, and it
that's right.
it stops double entry. I mean, there's a number of reasons for that, which I just touched on. But it's time saved as well, isn't it? Nobody wants to, you don't want to sit there plugging in all your property information into your PMS and then having to do the same thing on another software system, and then
Yeah,
another one, and then another one. If we can get this kind of ecosystem talking together, it's going to save you time. It's going to save, like Mitch said earlier, that human error as well. So,
yeah. I think the main thing is about the integration. Obviously, imports properties from your PropCo account directly into Image Hive, including property images. Again, just to avoid that unnecessary duplication. Um, it will also import the tenancies related to that property as well. Again, if you type in a phone number or email address in wrong, obviously, if you're importing that from PropCo, then it shouldn't do that because obviously it avoids that human error and duplication. And also, when you complete your reports on Image Hive, it will send it directly back to your PropCo account when completed. So it saves on that administration time as well, of where you don't have to download it as a PDF, then re-upload it into PropCo. It just goes bang straight across straight away. And the same with the utility meter readings as well. So when doing the inspection reports on Image Hive, it's a good opportunity to do utility meter readings, and then they can get sent back to PropCo as well. So our PropCo integration is quite popular. Like I said, it's used by some of our largest customers, and once it is set up, there's no looking back really. Um, I know recently as well, George, we've onboarded a few clients who also have the Reaper integration. So
mm,
again, with your understanding, do you want to just run through kind of what that does?
So Repeat integration is a kind of two-way marketplace, and if you haven't explored Repeat, you do get a kind of marketplace of apps, which obviously we're part of as well,
Yeah,
and similar with Fixflow. It's a two-way integration, similar to PropCo. It's going to stop the double entry of properties. It's going to avoid some of that human error as well. But from the two-way point of view, your property reports, as soon as they're finished on Hive, they're going to then appear in the relevant tenancy area. I believe it's letters or documents section, isn't it, Mitch, that they
yes,
appear in as well. So again, you're not having to manually click through your Hive account to share a report, although that is very quick and easy to do. It's a step of the process that you don't want to miss out. You want to have it there on your PMS system.
yeah,
And that's exactly what this integration does for you as well. So it's really powerful, two-way communication. We're pulling property data and tenancy data off of your Repeat account, which will appear straight into your Hive account, and then they're pulling the property reports, which you then complete back into your CRM as well.
yeah, absolutely spot on. So the thing with these integrations as well is we're talking about the start of the process, so
Mm,
importing the data across. Another integration that we've just announced as well as such, or we're due to announce, is one with Kinetics Room Service, and
yeah,
that's mainly one designed for our student accommodation um, client book. A lot of universities and student accommodation do use Kinetics Room Service, and that works exactly the same way, where it helps pull across room and student data directly to Image Hive. And because you can create those reports en masse, and with students moving in all in September time, there's a lot to do. The last thing you want to do is import all of those students and get them added on, when obviously the integration will just pull it across straight away. Um,
absolutely. You want to try and relieve as much of that kind of September headache as possible for you,
yes,
especially in the student market as well. So anything you can do which could have automated, and then our kind of scheduling tools as well, are really going to help that. And by using the master reports, I'm going off a bit off piste here, I do
yeah,
apologise. Um, but by automating as much of that workload as you possibly can,
yeah.
it's not going to alleviate the need for somebody to go to the properties. It's not going to, stop that human intervention, but at least it's taken a lot of steps out of the process for you.
Exactly, exactly. And I suppose the last integration we've got from the start of the process side of things is Jupits. So Jupits kind of goes under the radar as such. We've been integrating with Jupits since the start, really, and we do have quite a few customers who do use Jupits. So again, that works very similar about how it grabs all the property data from Jupits and map it across to Jupits branches. So yeah, again, that feed is surprisingly popular as well. Would you find that as well, George?
Yeah, absolutely. You mentioned earlier one of the questions that you get asked: who do you integrate with? Jupix is still a name that is being banded around. Absolutely, and it's really good as your kind of Hive needs increase as you start inspecting more of the portfolio on Inventory Hive. That Jupix feed is going to pull across any of those new properties that you add into your Jupix account straight into your Hive account as well. So.
Nice. I suppose now we're done almost start the process. You got the middle bit. So with the middle bit, you've got your fix flows or your maintenance issues. So usually when
mm,
you create reports on Inventory Hive, if there's any maintenance issues that crop up, it's a good opportunity to raise those and then potentially send those to Fixflow. So again, Fixflow is probably up there with the most popular integrations out there. It's a great platform. We've got a great relationship with them,
mm.
and it's probably the easiest integration to set up and use as well. George, would you say?
I would say so. It's really heavily documented in our support area, like the rest of the software system. There's a lot of documentation to help you get set up. I mean, obviously, we will give you a hand where we possibly can through support. But again, it's one of the most frequently asked integrations I get at the
Mm,
moment is Fixflow.
yeah,
Aside from property management systems, it's we heard about you because we're using Fixflow, and hopefully that conversation's going the other way
yeah,
as well.
yeah.
Um,
It,
and it's what I really like about that integration is, I suppose, the flexibility in reporting maintenance issues. So
yes,
one of the conversations I've been having recently is perhaps a larger agency where all of the maintenance is managed centrally. You've got a central property hub, which is managing, say, maintenance issues and properties across 5 or 6 different offices. You've got a portfolio of 7, 8, 900 properties, let's say. You do have various options. Maybe it's not for the inspectors to flag issues to Fixflow whilst they're building the report, which is
mm,
something you absolutely can do. Using our kind of inbuilt maintenance manager, you can centrally manage all of those maintenance issues as well.
yeah,
And so your property manager who's working at said hub could go through, filter down the properties, and then individually select what it is they want to send over to Fixflow. So, and I think that's powerful as well, having the
yes.
ability to either let your inspectors raise maintenance issues to Fixflow on the fly whilst they're at the property, or send it off to a central report, which you can then individually tag for whichever maintenance issue it may be.
The key thing about that as well, George, is obviously with maintenance issues, it's sometimes with that integration in place, it helps that maintenance issue get action straight away.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's not integrated, obviously there is a time where it might slip someone's mind or they might not see it in a report, for example. So
Mm.
with that integration in place with Fixflow and it gets sent across straight away, it can get action straight away. It protects the landlord's asset at the property and makes sure things are shipshape and repaired swiftly.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And this is one of those integrations where there's no additional cost. We don't charge anything for it. So if you've got
Yeah.
a fixed flow account there, it completely makes sense to do it. And
Mm.
the same with all these integrations. Once it's set up and running, it's there, it's
Yeah.
functional, it's added
Yeah.
functionality.
Yes, exactly. I suppose the last one as such really is the depository. So the depository is quite new on the scene, I'd say. The legend that is Christian Barfield or the Viking, as many people would know him as. Um, and I must admit, it is quite a nifty piece of kit. Um, I've seen on their socials how a lot more clients have come on board with them recently. So with the depository, that's more designed for the end of tenancy process to quicken that up. So how that integration works as such is when you create a checkout report on Inventory Hive, it will get sent over to the depository straight away, and it will just help highlight any costs that need deducting from the deposit. Again, maintenance issues, and it just helps speed up that checkout process. I know when depository did their market research, they found the end of tenancy process the most what's the right word? The most painstaking as such.
Mm,
So this integration helps speed up that massively.
yeah, absolutely. Whereas if you're familiar with the Inventory Hive automated tenant feedback process that we use very much for our check-in reports, it almost hands that conversation over, doesn't it, Mitch?
Yeah, exactly. It's like with because Image Hive and the depository have got a partnership with the TDS as well, obviously just to ensure complete compliance if it's used correctly, but also because of that integration, it just helps um, take that repetitiveness out of the way. It's a low skilled task through automation, and it just helps reduce man hours because at the end of the day, setting up these integrations helps reduce those man hours and or time is money at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And I believe, it's not just passing on of information, is it? I think you do get a PDF version of the
Yeah,
report in your depository account as well. So
yeah,
it's always a point of reference to go to.
exactly. I think that they're the main integrations that we work with, but we've always got more in the pipeline. We're about to announce a couple more, which we'll announce in due course. As
Mm,
George mentioned at the start, we've got an open API which we'll share with anyone who wants to set up an integration because the more that comes about, like even on LinkedIn, I've been posting about it where people want to integrate with more and more people. Like I said, it's often the first question now when people get in touch. So yeah, that's pretty much the summarize of the integration side of things, George. So
yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you wanted to add in any more comments before we
It's,
finish up.
it looks like it's the direction of property tech, really, isn't it? It's integrations, it's streamlining activities, it's minimizing double entry. And that's across the board. That's not just us. It's the other kind of integrators that we talk with. It's the other solutions out there that we talk with, work alongside as well.
Yeah,
And it really is there. Time saving, absolutely, but accuracy, elimination of human error, all of that good stuff as well. And by setting up yourself this kind of digital ecosystem, it's just getting the reports done, getting them out there, getting them shared with the relevant people, and just making sure all of your compliance is there as well. It's easier to do when it's all
yeah,
in kind of like a nice integrated ecosystem or solution, if you like. And it's
yeah,
what I'm noticing more at the moment as well is we're having a lot of conversations from people joining us on trial accounts and setting up new accounts, is coming away from this kind of patchy. I've got an Excel spreadsheet here for my
yeah,
maintenance issues. I've got
yeah,
this Word document here for my spreadsheet. And instead of people coming necessarily to us just standalone because they want to replace their inventory reporting system from that traditional Word document based process, we're noticing more and more conversations about we're having a complete digital overhaul. We're
yeah,
completely replacing our ecosystem.
yeah,
Um, you know, and that's when you get your shopping list of do you do this, that, that, that,
yeah,
that, that, that. So,
yeah.
and
And
by having that open API, where if you've got the capacity there to look into it, we can share those libraries as part
yeah,
of the accounts as well.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. No, I think it's been good. Thanks for your time, George. Like I said, anyone watching today or who watches this video later on, if you want to get in touch with us, just get in touch at info@imagehive.co.uk. George, obviously, a lot of positive feedback from our reviews. Who
Oh,
George will
thank
take you
you.
through the process, and our customer success journey will ensure. If you want to set up these integrations with us, we'll do all the hand holding and get you set up straight away. Um, yeah, that pretty much sums it up. So thanks for your time today, and we'll catch up again next week. We've got a new update coming out next week, so keep an eye out for
Oh,
that, and we'll have a live stream with Rich Habits next week. So
it's going to be a
another
good one.
fun one. It's going to be a good one,
It's
I
going to be a
promise you.
very good one. Yeah.
Yeah, nice. All right, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thanks very much, everybody.
Cheers.
See ya.
Bye.